Hey, this is Ask the Pastor. My name's Ryan, and I'm a pastor, and I let the internet ask me questions, and then I try to answer them. I don't promise they'll be the right answers. They're just my answers, and I'm doing my best. So, here's my question for today. Sometimes these questions are anonymous. That's okay. You can send in anonymous questions. You can email office@collegeparkpress.org and tell Carol, who's at the other end of that line, that you don't want your name revealed. Or you can post a question with a fake name on the internet. That's totally cool too. Anyway, here's this question. Are we living in end times? Yes. But let me explain what I mean by that, because that sounds scary. So to start with, what I don't mean by that is that you should stop going to work and dump out your retirement savings because Jesus is coming back any second now. That's a bad idea. And it's clearly instructed in the Bible that we shall not know the day or the hour when Jesus returns. And when we talk about the last days or end times in the Bible, that's not what we're talking about. It's just not how the biblical authors use those words. So I don't know when, there's only 2 days left. I can't tell you. I hope it's, I don't expect it's in the next 2 days. And I want to keep not expecting that it's in the next 2 days. You know why? Because Jesus will only come when I don't expect it. So the best I can do to hurry up Jesus and get him to come back, to Maranatha, to God come quickly, is to not expect Jesus. But I am going to live my life in such a way as to honor God and to be ready to enter the kingdom of heaven any second of any day. And I'm going to recognize this other kind of less science fiction, less loopy-doopy truth that, the days that we're living in are what the biblical authors would have called the last days or the age to come. Jesus preferred the word the age to come. So he talked regularly about this age, the present age, and the age to come. There are things that are happening in this age. There are things that are going to happen in the age to come, right? If you love people in this age, you'll be rewarded in the age to come. The temple's here in this age, but in the age to come, it'll be destroyed. This kind of stuff. And it's clear if you don't try to decode and put on your X-ray goggles and cross-reference it with one verse in Daniel and then half a verse out of Micah and then another half a verse out of Thessalonians and make it mean something it clearly doesn't, that what Jesus is talking about is the present and the future, right? There are things that are happening now, and there are things that are gonna happen, things that haven't happened yet. They're gonna happen in the age to come. And when Jesus talks about the future, who's in Jesus's future? From the future from when he was talking and they wrote it down? You and me. We're in the future. You hear me? We are in an age that is after the age that Jesus was talking in the Bible when they wrote it. It's just the age that was at that time to come. And then now if we say there's stuff happening this age, and then in the age to come, in this age we aren't supposed to leave our houses very much and do social distancing, and in the age to come there'll be a big party. That's what we mean. So the stuff that's going to happen in the age to come is happening. We're in the midst of that time, and that time is going to keep being that time until Jesus returns, which will happen any time between any minute now and the next billion years. That'll be the width and the breadth of the age to come. It'll last as long as it lasts. Now, another word for that is used only a couple times in Scriptures, 3 times in Scriptures, is the last days. And it uses this Greek word eschatoi, from which we get the word eschatology, which is the study of the ends. And if you ever meet someone who says they're really into eschatology, you can probably start to worry, because most people who are really into eschatology are really into doing that bad eisegetical stuff I talked about earlier, where you cross-reference half a verse from here with half a verse from there, and you make paper mache of the Bible, which isn't what Jesus wants you to do. So what does the Bible actually say about the last days? Which eschatology, we use the word end times from that same word, eschaton, about the end days. Well, in Acts 2, it says that it was fulfilled, the prophecy of the end days, because Joel, the prophet Joel from the Old Testament, you remember Joel, you Acts readers, right? He said, in the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. I think it's that way. Maybe it's the young men that are dreaming dreams. I'm not positive. Here's the point. That was happening, right? It was Pentecost. It was all of a sudden the Spirit was being poured out on all flesh. We're going to Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and the end of the earth. It's the last days. The last days are upon us. This is the day of the Lord. This is the day that Joel prophesied of. It's here. We get another reference to the last days in James that seems to be about martyrdom. It seems to be not necessarily like about a particular like age of the world, but instead about an age of your life, right? Like the last days of your life. And then we get this reference in Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 3. This is probably the most famous use of the phrase in the last days, where it talks about, there will be great trials in the last days. People will not be receptive to sound biblical teaching. People will be disrespectful to their parents. But if you take that in context, you know that Paul is talking to Timothy, who is the pastor-ish guy of a church in Ephesus, and he's advising them, Timothy's church, to watch out, because people are like this in the last days. So we read it now and we're like, man, that sounds like us. Children are totally disrespectful to their parents. Right, they were then too, because this has all been the last days, because this has always been how it was going to be, and it's going to continue to be that way until Jesus comes back, which I don't think it's going to happen by the end of this video, but I'm not sure. It could be, but I have no way of knowing. Could be another billion years. If you liked this answer, I would encourage you to share it. Let other people know that, hey, this pastor explained this and he did a good job and they should see it. If you didn't like it, I want to encourage you to tell me why. Explain why I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Get on a video and tell me, give me an argument. We can engage. And finally, if you've got your own question, I want you to send it to me. And you can watch these other 3 videos and they've got questions that I answered, and keep watching. Thanks. Bye.